Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Boop. Welcome to the Lori Lad Show. Come on in. 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 Grab a beverage of your choice. We're going to have a good show today. We're going to have a good show. I wish my glasses didn't do this, but that is fine. We're going to have a really good show. I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm excited. I don't know what it is. I really don't know what it is, but the more I sit with Yeshua, the more I am connecting with God, the more I am happy. I'm happy for no reason. Hello, Freedom Seekers United. Hello, Miley. Hello, Soul Coach Suzanne. Hi, Madison. Yogia Lunette 7421. Bonjour. Hi, Rory. It's nice to see you. We got a good show. Before we get going, before we start, volume is low. Turn up your volume. Turn up your volume. Is that better? Is that better? My volume doesn't have a thing. So let me know if that's a little bit better, if I bring it closer to me, if it helps. There. Hi, Dewey. Hello, hello. All right, you guys, before I get going, I am going to be doing a live Friday night live Q&A. Friday night live Q&A this Friday, 6 p.m. California time. We're going to be going live and I'm going to answer your questions. We did this last Friday. I had a blast. I had so much fun doing it. And so we're going to do it again today or this Friday, 6 p.m. California time, Friday live, Friday night live. So bring yourself, bring your questions, and it's going to be a good time. So today's show, I wanted to talk about what I believe to be some of the important things to start recognizing and remembering as we are moving through these shifts. I wanted to break down the physics of ascension, like what it actually is, and why I believe that, I've gone from super esoteric, super new age, way out there, galactic, quantum, I went all over the place, lots of different light beings, channeling, all kinds of stuff. And I have found myself of seeing this whole journey of ascension and the evolution in human consciousness more through the lens of Yeshua. And as I'm recognizing this shift through his lens, I'm realizing that at the end of the day, we can put all the bells and whistles on it and we can create all of the complicated um, gymnastics that we want to do. Like we got to do this and you got to do this and you better heal this and you better fix this. um, and what he's always sharing with me, and I believe it to be absolute truth, is that this entire shift that you and I are going through is about how kind of a person we can be, how much forgiveness we can have, how much compassion we can have, how much we can serve others, what we put first. Are we idolizing money or are we idolizing God and letting God work through us and serve those less fortunate? It's a real funny thing when God starts to move through your body and you start seeing the world through a very simple lens, the most important lens. which is the lens of God, which is who you are in your most natural state. 99.9999999% of the time, who we are is um, our ego and our mind and our programming. But this ascension and this evolution, I have seen the complications and the way in which it is described. And in this moment right now, I find myself actually physically and energetically moving through the evolution, truly experiencing myself energetically and physically shifting simply by bringing in the light of God, not by trying to activate my pineal gland, not by trying to clear out all my chakras and spin them in certain directions. Not, and there's nothing wrong with these things, but what I want to point out that from my experience, that is not what is going to get us to become godlike, which is why we're here. It's not. It's just going to keep us in the loops of searching and trying to climb up the ladder of what we believe to be evolution and ascension. All of these things that you and I have been doing most of our lives, we have been searching, we have been climbing, we've been trying to reach, we've been trying to get the A plus on our report card. We want to be the best. We want to keep going. We want to get higher. We want to ascend higher. We want to shift higher. We want to frequency higher. We want to be clear of this and clear of that. It's all me and I. Me, I, me, I, me, I, me, I. Where's God? Where's God in any of that? And what I am really starting to believe in all of my truth is that the actual shifts that we're here to take part in um, is the very basic human ways that we be every day. That is what will dictate kind of where you're at in terms of your frequency and your vibration, you know? Um, the true shift happens in your everyday life. It's not in some future moment. It's not in you preparing yourself for a future moment. It's not in you doing all of these things that you think you need to do. It's bringing God in. It's everything. It's the one thing that we haven't really been doing. We've been focusing on everything else. So here's the ascension broken down in physics very simply. Here's the evolution in human consciousness broken down very simply in physics. So physics, whatever yeah, physics. Um, your body is shifting frequency. It's your body. Your body shifts frequency. And as it shifts into higher frequencies, it brings up to the surface things to look at, things to feel, things to recognize. It brings awareness into your reality. All right. And you can try to shift your body's frequency faster than it's ready to shift, but you will still have to go backward and wait for what needs to arise to arise. You can't push the body's evolutionary shift. You can't push the body into something that it's not ready to go into. You'll just find yourself back in old ways, right? So we have to allow the body to do what the body's going to do. And as the body continues to increase in frequency by holding more light, the cells change, your DNA starts to change, how you see the world starts to change, your desires start to change, physical things start to change. Eventually, what will start happening is that the physical body will start to bring awareness, right? Because that's what happens when the body increases in frequency, it continues to bring awareness to you, new awarenesses. If you are awake and aware and curious, and you're not dead steadfast in what you believe to be absolute truth, you'll start to most likely be called back to your divine spark, your divine essence. You'll be called back to simplicity. What's happening right now on the planet, I believe, is that we're so distracted. We've been so groomed to be entertained. We've been so groomed to be constantly going from one thing to the next thing to the next thing. If it's not entertaining and if it doesn't hold our attention, we're onto something else. And so everything that we are being served right now has to have some level of attention. It's going to gain our attention, it's going to grab us. So we've been groomed for this. And this is the opposite of the our evolutionary shift in consciousness. Our evolutionary shift in consciousness is slowing down, getting quiet, going inward, and finding God within you. And everything else is distraction, everything else. So the body is eventually going to bring this awareness to humans. The problem is that humans are so conditioned right now, they're so disconnected that they're not going to become aware of what it is the body is asking them to do. The body's going to ask you to stop doing all of the mental, emotional, and spiritual gymnastics. The body's going to ask you to slow down, get quiet, get alone, stop listening, stop following, and come back to God. And humans are going to say, well, I don't know how. There's no possible way that this is the way. All these people are telling me that it's this and it's that, and you got to do this, and all that. There's all this excitement around all these different things, and I need to keep paying attention to all these things. And meanwhile, your body's like, hey, just want to let you know there's this divine spark that's kind of lighting up right now, and it wants you to connect into the creator of everything. But we're like this, we're on our phones like, "Doo doo doo doo, doo 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 doo. Oh my god, did you see this? Oh my god, did you hear this? Oh my god, did you hear this?" Right? And we're like, "Oh my god, did you know that you have to go do dot, 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 dot? Now that if you do dot, 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 you can raise your frequency. And did you know that if you take this plant medicine, then all of a sudden you're gonna be met with God? And did you know that that's all we do all day long? We're just constantly consuming and constantly distracting um and so we're constantly in a state of circling suffering. Your suffering is not because you did something wrong. Your suffering is not because you have more healing to do. Your suffering is not because you have too much trauma in you. Your suffering is not because you're not doing it correctly the way people are telling you. Your suffering is because you are disconnected from God. Period. Start connecting back to God, and your suffering will go away. It will go away. It will slowly go away. Start connecting to God, and you will start seeing through this entire game on top of a game that we're playing. There's this phrase that Jesus says. I'm going to read it to you guys because ascending, evolutionary shift in human consciousness, moving into a new earth or a new anything only happens in this moment. It only happens in right here, right now. It only happens in the chaos. It only happens in the evil unraveling. It only happens here. It doesn't happen in some moment later down the road that we prepare for. It's not a moment that happens to us. It is how we be with humanity and the world and the planet now. That's it. And we've been fed the illusion that we have to prepare ourselves for something, that we have to get ready for something, that we have to like do all these things and clean out our bodies and like prepare and all, like there's all this stuff that we're doing to get something where and do something and prepare for something and then it's going to happen. That's a distraction. That's a program. Because what that does is it actually pulls you out of right here, right now, which is the only place that evolution happens. It's the only place that you are being gifted an opportunity to actually know and remember what evolution is, which is you becoming godlike in human form. That is what 5D humans are. They are godlike in human form. That's what a fifth dimensional human is. Millions of years ago, 5D humans, they were godlike in human form. So, what we're all being gifted right now is how to be more God-like. Period. End of discussion. That's it. So, how do you do that? You have to connect with God. This isn't rocket science. It's just that people don't like it because it doesn't give you the bells and whistles. It doesn't give you a lot of entertainment, but it's the solution. It is the solution. It is what Jesus spoke about. It is what God would say if God could rain down here right now as this omnipresent light. God would say, be your true divine essence. God wouldn't say, go prepare your body. God wouldn't say, go fix all these things about your trauma. God wouldn't say, oh, make sure that you heal from this and heal from that. God would say, simply, find your divine essence in each moment. Find your divine essence in each moment. Find your divine spark of God in each moment as often as you can. If God had a voice and a body and was standing here, that's what God would share with us. I am convinced of it. God would not be talking about all these mental gymnastics and emotional gymnastics and spiritual and physical gymnastics that we do all the time. That is everything that we've been placing on ourselves because we think this is what we need to do. The medicine is God. The medicine is God's light. The medicine is God's essence. The medicine is God's consciousness. We start from there and then we go back out into the world. We start from there and then we go and watch all this stuff. We start from there and then we enter back out. Then we look at the Epstein files. Then and we do it from a very different perspective. We respond differently. We react differently. We see it differently because we are responding as close as we can be to this divine spark of God. That's an advanced human, not some, like esoteric sort of floaty thing. It's like, no, it's the human experience. It's the human moment. It's this now. It's how you walk outside and treat your neighbors. It's how you drive your car and treat the person that cut you off. It's how you treat the barista making your coffee. It's how you treat your family. That's the evolutionary shift in each moment. That's it. Being really human and finding God in each of those moments. That's it. It's not some, a moment where your body is going to become some like crystalline thing, and then off you go into the ethers of heaven on earth. That's going to happen hundreds of years from now, and now all that does is distract us. Everything distracts us from what is actually the true evolutionary shift. Everything is designed to distract us from the true evolutionary shift, which is what you and I don't want to do, which is sit and bring in that light, to sit and call God in, to sit and ask for our divine light to be activated by that creator light, to lean on God instead of anything else, to ask God for guidance before anyone else, to let go of the things that we think we really need in life and let God show us, to let God lead us. If you want to see how kind of quote unquote advanced we are, right? As a culture, as a planetary collective, how many humans are following God consciousness, letting God lead them, and how many people are following their own free will? That will give you a real good sort of rundown of where we are as a collective right now. Because as you invite God in more and more, as God starts to come into your life, as God lights you up and heals you and like changes you from the inside out and brings a smile onto your face no matter what's happening, and it no longer has you searching for making all this money and being so successful, but instead just how can you hug another human? Who needs your smile today? Who needs to know that they're okay? That is God consciousness, not searching for the next dollar and the next this and the next that. That's not God consciousness. By the way, when God comes in, I'm going to tell you, God does not lead in that way. God leads in service to humanity. God is here, as you are here, to reduce the suffering on the planet, to help humans navigate this. You are here to bring more love to the planet. You are here to bring more compassion to the planet. You're here to bring more unification to the planet. And how do you do that? Not by you doing it, by God consciousness doing it. God consciousness moving through you, God consciousness taking over, God consciousness changing everything that you think you need and want so that God can move through you and say, I've got you. Watch this. I'm going to rock your world. You're going to be so shocked by what's happening. Sit back. When God starts leading us in our lives, then we know we're connected to our divine spark. When God starts telling us what to do and what's next, then we know that we are becoming more godlike. But until then, it's very much our ego, our trauma, our programming. I know this is probably, it could be ruffling a lot of people's feathers, but the more that we are like, okay, this is what I need to do. I need to do this and I need to do this and I need to do this, right? Just be aware that that's you. That's you with all your intelligence figuring it out. What happens when you invite God in? Like, what does God say? What does your internal light of divine essence say? Ask yourself. Start asking, what does my divine essence think? You really want to evolve? You really want to shift? You really want to move into 5D or new earth or whatever else people are calling it? You really want to? Start asking yourself what God would do in this moment, how God would respond to this person, whatever God is to you. Start inviting that in and what it would do or say or feel, and let that guide you. Let that be the thing that starts shifting you, because that's the shift. What do you think Christ consciousness is? The Christed light within you. It's God consciousness within you. It's turning on. What do you think it means when it turns on? It means that there is this God energy flowing through you that starts to pull you and lead you and guide you and show you. But if you're not conscious, aware, and interacting with it, your mind and ego, the I and the me, will still run the show. Your essence of God, God knows way more than you do. Way more than you do. It'll blow your mind. It'll blow your mind. I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to give you a couple of stories. So I live, walk, talk, breathe, sleep 24/7 with Jesus right now, all the time, every day. I know him better than I know anyone else in my life. And he's always doing these really incredible, miraculous things in my life. I don't share very often, just because it's, my own thing that I have with him. But two really cool things happened yesterday that I just thought, you know what, I'm going to share. I'm going to share what it's like when you walk with Jesus, what he does, what he does, what he does. He's so incredible. And he is God, right? So it's like you realize how supported you are when you start working with him. You realize that It is about being human and being loving and compassionate and giving your money away and like stop hoarding everything and like just give to people. Be available for people, right? Anyway, um so here's my story. I I run my own company, so I have to pay for my own insurance and I'm a single woman. My insurance went up this year, so I was paying $740 a month. I never go to the doctor. I don't have prescription stuff. I don't get sick hardly. And if I do, I just figure out how to heal it on my own. So I don't use insurance ever. It's $740 a month. I was like, wow, this is highway robbery. Really hard for me to swallow this. I got vertigo last week or 2 weeks ago. I had to go to the emergency room. They charged an arm and a leg, even though I had this insurance that I pay for every month. So the whole thing was just kind of rubbing me the wrong way. And I sat yesterday morning with Jesus and I was like, what should I do here? I was like, this just doesn't resonate with me. Like something just feels off about this. It doesn't feel right. It's not about whether I have the money to pay for it or not. It's more of just the principle behind it. And I heard him say, cancel your insurance. And when you work with Jesus, it's very much like what he says is not the actual solution. It's like you have to follow breadcrumbs, right? So, it's like he'll say one thing and then you do it, and then you find out that it's actually 3 steps after that is what he was trying to get you to. So he doesn't tell you, like, specifics. You're gonna do this, 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 and then this is gonna happen. He just starts with like, cancel your insurance. So I've learned how to work with him. I've learned how to follow his guidance. And so I was like, okay, I'll cancel my insurance. So yesterday I call my insurance company. I wasn't necessarily going to cancel it per se, but I was going to see what my options were. So I'm talking to this guy and we're chit chatting back and forth. Great man. And he's telling me my options, which weren't really anything. There was like nothing really he could do. And he's like, "Well, I do have this one option." Because I was like, "I have to have insurance because if I don't, I get dinged at the end of the year on my taxes." In California, maybe in the whole United States, but in California, if you don't have health insurance, you get dinged. I think it's I don't know, 3, 4, $5,000 you have to pay. So I was like, "Hey, I need to make sure that I have something, so I don't get dinged." Even though Jesus said cancel your insurance. So he's like, "Well, we do have this one thing. I don't usually recommend it. It's kind of like insurance, but it's this group insurance thing where everybody puts money in each month and then whoever needs it kind of takes it out. Um, but you'll be able to use it and get, approved for your I mean, for your taxes. But since you don't usually use health insurance, you should be fine." And he's like, "I just need to ask you a couple questions first before we get going." And he goes, "Do you believe God is, taking care of you or something?" I was like, "Yeah." "Do you believe that your body is a vessel and that you should not be smoking, drinking, doing drugs, whatever?" I was like, yeah. "Do you believe that, sex is a precious thing?" I don't know. I'm making up the kind of words, but like sex is something that should be done um, with a partner. It's not, promiscuity or something like that. I was like, yeah. And then he said one more thing, and I don't know if he was talking about Jesus or if he brought Jesus up or not, but I was like, yeah. And then tells me he's like, well, there's this Christian healthcare system thing. And he starts talking to me about it, and I started laughing because I was like, "What the heck?" First of all, I'm not Christian, but I'm all over God. Like, I'm all over Jesus, right? So, but I wouldn't call myself a Christian. I don't believe all the dogmatic stuff that goes along with that. Um, but I believe a lot, right? And, anywho, so uh, I hang up with him and I'm like, what is this Christian healthcare thing he's talking about? So I Google myself and I feel Jesus just kind of smiling because every time I follow and he knows I'm following the path, the breadcrumbs, I feel he smiles. He gets so excited because I'm following the breadcrumbs, right? So I find this website. I randomly, I'm just like, I'm just gonna call the number because it was like Christian healthcare something or other. And, I call, and this lady gets on the phone, she's super sweet. I'm like, "What is this all about? Like, I've never heard of you guys. I didn't know you even existed. Like, what is this?" And she's like, "Oh my god, it's the best. Okay, let me tell you. It's a legit healthcare system. Like, it's healthcare. You get a card, you pay your premium every month, you have a deductible, you can have, you can have, life or not life insurance, eye whatever, and dental." Um She's like, "The only thing is that you have to, you have to believe in Jesus's teachings and his ministry and stuff." And I was like, "Sure, I 100% believe in Jesus's teachings. I follow him. I live with him. He's like literally my best friend." And she's like, "Great. So here's what we're gonna do. Dot 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 dot. And based on your income and this and that, your premium your premium will be." We kind of talked about everything, but she's like, "Your premium will be $420 a month." I was like, "Fabulous. I'm in, and I can pick my doctors and blah, blah, blah." So anyways, she's like, "Great. So we're gonna set it all up. We're gonna call you in a couple of days, and we're gonna set up your doctors for you. You can choose from different providers." Um, and then she goes, "And also, if you do want to reduce that premium, then, you just need to get a full blood panel, which we pay for." And I'm like, "You pay for the whole blood panel?" She goes, "Yeah, yeah, it's out of our pocket. We pay for the whole blood panel, and, and you go get your blood done, and if you're healthy, the premium will go down about $100. So your premium will be about 350 bucks." I'm like, "What? Literally, what just happened?" So I signed up for this Christian healthcare that Jesus led me to, that I didn't even know existed, nor I never would have known existed if Jesus didn't say, "Cancel your insurance," and I just follow and say, "Okay, I'm gonna call, I'm gonna get curious." When you work with Jesus, you don't take what he says at face value. Jesus is very he works in metaphor, and he doesn't actually always mean what he says directly. Right? So I'm like, well, maybe he doesn't mean cancel it, maybe he means some, I don't know. So I was open to like whatever this could mean, and I just got Jesus health insurance. Like, I don't know if you guys know it's out there, but it's out there. And by the way, if you live in California and you have covered California, they don't tell you about this. But again, you do have to believe in some Christian principles, and if you don't, then, you gotta be honest about that. Um, but it made me realize how beautiful people are. It made me realize how this evolutionary shift in human consciousness is about kindness, because here is this health insurance company, and they're not out to steal. They're not out to rip people off. In fact, they created this in order to help families, right? That's a higher state of consciousness. That's breaking out of the systems, right? That is, they created something. Somehow were able to create a completely different healthcare system that isn't ripping people off. And Jesus just showed me, like, this is ascension. This is what it looks like in the human experience. This is it. And with this woman, I felt like we were just being two humans helping each other. It felt alive. It felt real. It felt human. It felt loving. It felt kind. It felt like all the things that we imagine life to be, it felt like. And I know this sounds really dramatic, but it was Jesus showing me, like, this is the shift in consciousness, Lori. It's not some, high vibing, bring myself into some, like, whatever, and then, like, all the stuff. I'm not even going to go into it. It's this. This is it, he said. This is it. And then the second thing that happened last night. So I'm sitting there with him again later on in the day, and he says to me, um, he says, I want you to go on tour in the United States, and I want you to do the God particle activation tour. God particle activation tour." And I was like, "I'm not ready. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not ready for that." And he goes, "You're never going to be ready. I need you to do it." And then he says, "I want you to start with just a handful of cities." He started giving me the cities. Um, he gave me 8 cities, and then he said, "Iowa." So he gave me like Seattle, LA, San Francisco, Tucson, Dallas, Nashville, Boston, like big cities, right? And then he just said Iowa. And I'm like, Iowa? And I literally ignored him and I was like, I'm not putting Iowa on the map. We're not doing Iowa. And he said Iowa is going on there. Put Iowa on there. You're going to Iowa. And I was like, all right, Iowa. We're going to Des Moines, Iowa, I guess. And anyway, so I reach out to Taylor and I'm like, "Hey, Taylor, I need you to help me. We're gonna start going on tour in September, and these are the cities, and Iowa's in there. Don't ask, but it's Des Moines, Iowa." And and then later on, a couple of hours later, I'm talking to a friend of mine, and I'm like, "Yeah, Jesus wants me to start going on tour, and he told me to go to Iowa, which is so weird." Um, no, first I said, I'm gonna start going on tour in the United States and just, just small groups of people, maybe 10, 15 people will come out in each city. I don't expect it to be very big, right? But it's getting started, right? So that's what I first said to her. I was like, it's gonna be small. I don't know how many will come out, but Jesus wants me to go and do this. And she goes, "Oh, well, if you build it, they will come." Like the Field of Dreams. And I was like, "Oh yeah, if you build it, they will come. It's a great movie." And that's what I'm doing. If I build it, they will come. If I go out and start doing this, the people will come. And I was like, "Yeah, it's really weird because he was telling me these are the cities. And then one of the cities was Iowa, which was very weird." And she goes, "Isn't Iowa where the Field of Dreams movie was made?" And I was like, "What?" She goes, "Yeah, Iowa is where the movie The Field of Dreams was made. In fact, the stadium that he made, the baseball field is still there." I said, "Mhm, mhm. Yeah, Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come." So, another example of Jesus and the way he works and the support we have, right? Where it's like, does he really want me to go to Iowa? I don't know, but he wanted me to understand that if I build it, they will come. And I'm sharing just these 2 stories. I have so many stories of the way Jesus supports us, but just these 2 stories, right? It shows you how much support we have when we start leaning into something other than ourselves. When we finally say to ourselves, "You know what? I am so sick and tired of following everybody else's protocols. I'm sick and tired of following what everybody else is telling me to do, that this will heal me and this will fix me and this will elevate me and this will bring me here and this will do that and that. What does God want me to do?" And yeah, it's going to be challenging. You're not going to hear it right away, but how badly do you want that guidance over every other guidance out there? Like, I'm gonna go out in September and I'm gonna do this. I don't know what it's gonna look like. I have no idea who's gonna come. I don't know, but I know that not only does he want me to, not only is it for my highest good, but apparently he wanted me to recognize that, yeah, it's gonna start off slow, Lori, but don't forget that movie, The Field of Dreams. Like if Jesus could have talked, he would have said, "Lori, listen, it's gonna be small for a while, but you just keep going because just like that movie, Field of Dreams, if you build it, they're going to come." That's what he said to me. But how did he say it? Go to Iowa. That's it. Go to Iowa. Then I had to have the conversation with my girlfriend. Then my girlfriend's like, "Oh, you're building the field of dreams." And then I was like, "Oh, yeah, I'm going to Iowa." And she goes, "Oh, that's how it works. That's how God works through you. That's how God works magic in your life." And that is how you start to feel so supported that you don't want anyone else or anything else to guide you. You don't want to lean on anything else. Why would I ever lean on anything else other than that? I got insane insurance. I am told what to do next, clear as day. And yeah, it's taken me months to practice this, but this is the evolution in human consciousness. This is how I become more godlike. This is how I follow service work. This is how I open my heart, how I find more compassion, how I find more kindness. Here's another example that happened yesterday. All three of these happened yesterday. I'm in my hot Pilates class, and there's a teacher in there that was taking class, and we were talking, and she goes, "Hey, there's this woman that comes in, and she's super high maintenance and she's annoying and she does her own thing and she's super distracting. So she's probably going to come in between our mats. I just want to let you know she also brings her phone in, blah, blah, blah. Right. And I don't care. Like God has shifted me so much that the things that used to bother me don't bother me anymore. And I was like, okay. So class starts and she comes in and she's very, very anorexic. And I knew it was her because she moved her. She came in and went right between this teacher and I. And she was doing her own thing. She had weights on her legs. I mean, she was very, very skinny. And of course, it didn't bother me, right? And at the end of the class, she leaves, and this teacher comes up, and we're talking, and she goes, "Can you believe it? Like, it was so distracting, and we don't know what to do with her." And I was like, "She's suffering. We need to have compassion for her. She's in pain. She is in pain." And when I said she is suffering, the teacher's face changed. You could feel that something shifted in her. She didn't say anything to me that yesterday, right? But I could tell that something shifted, a different perspective, a different lens. And she, we did our thing, and she kind of kept talking about, yeah, but, yeah, but she's distracting other people and it's not okay. And I was like, yeah, but she's anorexic. Like she's dying, you know? And so today, I took this teacher's class, and she came up to me and she goes, "I got to tell you, what you said to me yesterday really rocked me." She goes, "I found out, not only are you right, like not only did it really make me sit with what she's going through, my heart broke." She goes, "My I went home and my heart just broke." And she goes, "And then I found out that it was her birthday as well, and it just made me feel so much worse." And I said, "Yeah, it's not about feeling bad that we didn't do the right thing or say the right thing." I said, "It's understanding that everyone's suffering in some capacity, and we are constantly being gifted an opportunity to see that. And if you see people through the lens of they're just in suffering, right? If somebody bothers you, if somebody's annoying you, look at it in terms of, are they suffering in some way? Are they having a hard day? And when I say suffering, I don't mean like, oh my God, you better look at everybody as suffering people. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that typically, if there are people that are triggering you or bothering you, I don't always believe it's the shadow within you. You know, I don't. I don't buy into that. I buy into, I'm being asked to be more godlike. How can I do that? And how would God see this person? God wouldn't say like, "Oh, you've got shadow work to do, Lori." God would say, "Be kind. That person is in pain. Be kind. That person is lonely. Be kind. That person hates themselves. Look at how skinny they are. They can't stand themselves." That's how God looks at people. That's how Jesus looks at people, through that lens. And that's what I mean when I talk about the evolution in human consciousness, ascension. It is not some put in a box, pretty little thing that we're doing, and we're going to go into some 5D and off we go. It's about looking at that person that is struggling and that's killing themselves through their eating disorder, and you go and be kind to them. You show them compassion, right? Wherever you can do that, that is evolution. In fact, I ask you, go and watch near death experience videos. All the different near death experience videos. How often does God or their spirit guides or the angels tell them like, "Oh, you're ascending down there and you just need to keep vibrating your body into higher and higher frequencies and make sure that you are continuing to elevate yourself." And no, the majority of it is go back down and serve, be kind, be loving, be more compassionate, give more. Your relationships are everything. That is human evolution. That's it. It's not these fancy things that we get stuck in this fantasy illusion that one day we're going to be in this heaven place away from all this horrific. No, we're not. No, we're not. We do this in the horrific. We do this in the darkness. We do this in the suffering of people around us that want to yell at us and belittle us and say all those things. We practice godlike ways of being in each and every moment, and that's the evolutionary shift in human consciousness. That's ascending. That's ascension. That's what we're doing here on this planet. That's why we're all here. And so I wanted to read this to you guys because I've read this a couple times in the Bible, and it's again another analogy or metaphor that Jesus used. But to me, especially right now on the planet, this is not easy. This is not easy, but this is important. So let me first read it to you. He says, and this is in Matthew 7, 3 to 5, 3-5. Why do you look at the speck of sawdust in your brother's eye and pay no attention to the plank in your own eye? How can you say to your brother, "Let me take the speck out of your eye," when all the time there is a plank in your own eye? First, take the plank out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye. Basically, obviously, we've heard this or other phrases. Um, and what he means is before you start, pointing the finger and saying how annoying this person is or how they need to get their crap together or blah, 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 right? We start pointing at that speck in their eye. We remember we got a whole plank in ours. We got a whole bag of issues. That's not to say that you can't get upset with the evil that's happening. That's not to say that you can't hold boundaries. That's not to say that you don't have arguments. That's not to say that you don't say no to people or yes to people, okay? It means that when you're about to go and point your finger at how someone's doing something bad or wrong or whatever it is that they trigger you, they shouldn't be doing this, they shouldn't be doing that, just pause for a moment. Just pause for a moment and ask yourself, how perfect are you? This takes a lot of practice, believe it or not. This is the evolution. You want to evolve? You want to move into 4D and 5D and 6D? Do this every day, all day long, and grade yourself. This is the actual experience and process and journey of evolution. We don't like it. We don't want to talk about it. We want to be told the fancy, pretty stories and the good stuff and the fun stuff. But this is it. And this is what will elevate you and shift you faster than anything else is these tried and tested ways of moving through life, especially right now when all of this is unraveling. And then you just gauge it, right? It's like, it's easy for me to do it with this person. It's not easy for me to do it with this person. Okay, fine. Um, how often are you, first of all, you ask yourself, What does it mean if I'm evolving into more of a godlike state, godlike ways of being? What does that mean? What would that look like? Do we even ask ourselves that? Like, what would it look like? Would we take our own shirt off our back and give it to somebody? Would we let anybody into a class that we're charging for free, or do we have to make sure they pay us? Would we do something for free, or would we have to get paid for it? Would you go out of your way to help somebody? Maybe you have to drive them 30 minutes out of your way, but would you do it? Would you take care of your neighbor's children for the 3 hours and they're obnoxious kids that you can't stand, but your neighbor needs it? Would you do that? That's what this life is all about. That's what shows who is evolved and who isn't. Not how much you know about the government, not how awake you are to all the poisons in the sky. That's just awareness. That's not evolution in terms of states of consciousness that you are becoming. That's just awareness. You're just becoming aware of the dark. You're just becoming aware of the corruption. That plays no role in your states of being. The evolution in human consciousness is not about how much darkness you can see and how much corruption you can walk out of and move out of and step out of and not be in. The evolution in human consciousness is how you be. How are you being? And not alone. How are you being with other people? How are you being with the planet? How are you being with the world? That's the evolutionary shift in human consciousness. And so, yeah, there's these ways that we can practice anchoring God's light, right? Like I'm listening to 932 hertz. So, sure, there's a lot of different tools that you are going to have access to help you anchor God's light, but it's simple. You're anchoring the light of God in your body, you're activating God in you. Yeah, your body's going to need a lot of help, okay? But you're not doing it. God's light is doing it. You're going to start feeling like, you're going to start feeling things that you didn't plan on. That's what happens when God comes in. You start to subtly feel different very slowly. And it's like, what's going on? God, God's going on. Welcome, welcome. Why am I not so irritable? You bought this $3,000 course that was supposed to help you with dot, 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 right? And somehow you just start bringing in the light of God and it starts to happen naturally. The light of God is the medicine for this entire planet. It will heal everyone. And it's not a disempowered state, it's the most empowered, powerful state we can be in, connected and aligned with the light of God. But we have been so deeply programmed that this is really challenging for people to believe, and it's extremely challenging for people to do because it's boring. This doesn't have a shock and awe thumbnail that's gonna make you, get entertained or give you all of these like, "Okay, now you gotta go do this, and now you gotta go do that. Make sure you do this, and then you go do that, and what kind of experience did you have? And then what?" Remember, this entire planet is designed to distract you from your actual evolutionary shift in human consciousness, which is dropping back into your divinity, the God particle, your divine light within you, this Christed light within you. And the more that you can drop into this, the more it's going to guide you, the more it's going to show you what life is actually about. You may all of a sudden you may be a millionaire right now watching this, right? And all of a sudden you're just like giving your money away. You're like, I don't know, I just feel like I have to give my money away. I wasn't going to say this, but I feel this a lot. It is what it is. But these teachings that I'm starting to offer and that God's asking me to offer and Jesus is telling me to offer, they're not popular. They're not going to get people's attention right away. Um, and that's okay. It's okay. Um, because it will eventually catch on fire because eventually people will realize in 5 years or 10 years that what they've been doing isn't working. And that's the shift in consciousness. People start realizing what they've been doing is actually not working. And they'll finally get sick and tired of the whole way that the world works and spins them in circles. And they'll say, maybe I'll start to go and bring God in and see what happens. But I'm going to still stay in control until I absolutely have to. We like being in control. We like creating our worlds. We like to manifest everything we want. And we also like to be in suffering because if we didn't, we'd be out of it. So there's an aspect of us in some way, shape, or form that unconsciously believes that we're just supposed to be in this state of suffering. I encourage you that on top of everything else you're trying, try the light of God as well. Bring it in, invite it in, talk to it, sit with it, invite Jesus in, talk with him, sit with him. He has nothing to do with the religious dogma. He has everything to do with walking you straight into your divinity, period. End of discussion. That's it. He will walk you straight into who you are. He will show you the most incredible life. He will show you how to be so much better than who we are right now. And as the world gets more crazy and as more things, there's so much darkness right now that we can see with the Epstein files. It's really, 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 really dark. And you compensate for that darkness by sitting with God's light. It immediately puts you right back into a real, clear, aligned state. And so, this is a little bit of a new journey for a lot of us. What I'm talking about and what I'm sharing, but I have no doubt whatsoever that this is the way. That this is the way. For one, it's changed my whole life. I've never, ever, ever, I've never experienced what I'm experiencing now. And for two, it's all God's talking about. It's all Jesus is talking about. And the way my life is unraveling, it's like you guys wouldn't believe it. You wouldn't believe it. You would not believe it. The way he works, the way God works. I should probably start sharing more because then you will believe it. If I start sharing more stories, right, then you'll start believing me more and more probably. I'll share my birthday story at one point. My birthday story is a miraculous WTF story. I'll share that with you guys some other time down the road. But all I can say is let my own transformations that are happening, let it be the evidence you need that what I'm saying is real. Because I don't lie. You guys know me, very transparent. If I'm angry, I'm angry. If I'm sad, I'm sad. If I'm having a bad day, I'm having a bad day. You know, I don't put on a happy face. I don't pretend. I don't know how to pretend. So these shifts and changes that God has been doing in my life is a testament to what God is here to do for all of us, and that is the shift. That's the shift. I just will speak about this till the cows come home. Everything else is going to keep us in the loop of waiting and searching and doing that we are trying to find, that we are trying to search for, that we are trying to seek, that we are trying to find, that we are trying to be. It's all a constant search. It's a constant movement towards something. And when you find God and God comes in, you stop searching. You're home. And then it just becomes you figuring out how to be with God. I love you guys. Join me on Friday for our live Friday night Q&A, 6 p.m. 6 p.m. Friday, live Q&A. I will see you guys then. Until then, be kind, be gentle, be more kind, be more gentle. Question everything and ask yourself, how would my divine essence be in this? How would God be in this? What would God say? What would God think? Okay. I love you. See you soon. Mwah.